Most of the readers of the magazine are pretty familiar with the idea that we may have a very unrecognised, ancient and glorious past. The concept of having ancient high-tech civilisations long before our own is not a new idea to most of the people in the audience. However, what is new is some of the evidence that's emerging. I know a lot of people have seen Graham Hancock's work and Michael Cremo's collection of artefacts in his books, but there is even more coming to light. Klaus Dohner is based in Vienna, Austria. He's an art exhibition curator. For the last decade or so, he's been investigating archaeological mysteries, including out-of-place artefacts, or OOPArts, as they're often called. In other words, artefacts that shouldn't exist according to the scientific orthodoxy. He went on to set up a touring exhibition called Unsolved Mysteries, having gathered more than 3,000 pieces which have no logical explanation. Many of these pieces are from secret private collections. Thank you. Got two. And I guess other museums as well that Klaus has had access to. So far the exhibition has been staged in Austria, Germany, Switzerland and South Korea. One day we hope to get him down here to Australia, and you'll be reading about it in Nexus when we organise that. Among the exhibition pieces are a Nephilim giant's bones, which give a different take on the history of humanity and suggests the possibility of extraterrestrial influence. Other items that have piqued Klaus's interest include ancient model aircraft from Egypt and Colombia, 2,000-year-old electrical batteries found in Iraq, precision glass lenses dug up from Viking graves, and well, there's a whole list of them here, but Klaus has got hundreds of photos here and pictures of what he's picked up on his collection around the world. Klaus firmly believes we are not alone and never have been. The physical evidence he shows has radical implications for how we look at human history. His territory covers Atlantis, reptilian humanoids, the Anunnaki, ancient science and symbolism, a global language and more. This is Klaus's first appearance at a Nexus conference. I gather it's his first time in Australia. Yes. So please give him a big warm Nexus conference welcome. Klaus Dohner, thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to congratulate and say thanks to Duncan and his group, his staff, because they invited me and made me able to talk to you, and the organization is just perfect. Thank you very much, Duncan. First of all, shortly, I would like to inform you how I came to do to this researches. Since 20 years I'm planning and organizing cultural exhibitions from Austria to Japan, and you can imagine how many times I was in an airplane between Austria and Japan. And in the airplane and through jet lag in Japan, I read many books from Deniken, Robert Charroux and many other writers, and believe me, I was the one who did not believe that all these pieces are existing and they are all original. Then I had the naive idea it would be the easiest thing to bring all or some of those pieces to Vienna into an exhibition called Unsolved Mysteries, and then the scientists have a chance to prove that those artifacts are not original and old. And it put me really into hell, because I found some researchers, some scientists, they did checkings on some of those pieces, and they found out that we would not be able to do the same pieces from the same material in our days, and we could not prove that one of those artifacts was new made. So all of you, you know the legends and stories, old stories, talking about giants, about Atlantis, about Mu, and many other things. I found out in the last several years that many of the legends have a big portion of reality. For example, and of course I would like to say that I cannot give you shocking informations like Donna and Jim this morning, but I can only leave you with open questions. Maybe you have some own ideas, and I start with the pyramids, because you can find pyramids all over the world. I start with the pyramids of Giza. Everybody of you know them. I show you the Sun Pyramid in Teotihuacan in Mexico, 60 kilometers north of Mexico. This is a model of the pyramid area which was in former days. This is a pyramid in China, another one in China, another one in China. And the next pyramids, we got photos from a Chinese archaeologist from southern Mongolia, a very strange form of pyramids. And a few weeks ago, I got information from China about a private collection which the owner got from his great-grandfather, and he found it in southern Mongolia, around the area where you saw the pyramids. The official dating of the pyramids in southern Mongolia is between 5,000 and 8,000 years, so those artifacts must be at least older than 5,000 years, but I think they are very much older. And you see here one artifact. It's a bronze statue found in southern Mongolia, and it looks definitely like the Egyptian goddess Isis. Here you have the details, and you can see here the horns and what the archaeologists call it the sun, but several researchers, for example, a Russian researcher, Professor Muldashev, he did many researches in Tibet, Egypt, and many other countries. He thinks that this ball is not showing the sun, but he calls it, it shows the prana, or the kind of orb which is energy, pure energy. Here you have some photos of Egyptian Isis, and you can see that the piece from southern Mongolia is very similar. And the next following artifacts are made out of jade, very hard jade material, and very strange artifacts. It is not known what culture did those pieces and when, but they think about 5,000 to 8,000 years ago. The next pyramid is from Canarian Island, another one, Canarian Island, and another one. Then you can see some pyramids from Greece. This one is in Hellenikon in Greece. The next one is from Italy, from Sicily, Italy, from Sardinia in Italy, and the next photo shows how they restored it. This is a very old drawing from Tahiti, from a pyramid. I do not think that it exists in our days. The next one is from Mauritius Island. These two pyramids are from Taiwan. And even in Austria, we have a pyramid of stones. So you can see pyramids, you can find them all over the world. And I think also there was a writing existing, the same writing all over the earth, which I show you other photos following. So I think the pyramids, they had a connection somehow, and they were not all, or only some of them were really graves. I think that they had other functions, but still the scientists do not have a real answer. This photo, I put it on because I did not know that Duncan with his magazine is much faster than I. He did a very good report about stone buildings in South Africa in his last Nexus magazine. So you can find, I don't have to talk a lot, you can read a real good explanation in the June-July Nexus magazine. An African owner of a fire protection company, he owns several helicopters and small airplanes for protection of the fire. And he was flying over South Africa the last 20 years. And he did thousands of photos. He found thousands of stone circles all over South Africa. And the official archaeological explanation is that those stone circles were cow storages. But look at these pictures, and do you really think that those were cow storages? I don't think so, because they are exactly archaeoastronomical places or works. And I had a telephone call last week with the second finder, Michael Tellinger, and he told me that they did research with high-tech instruments inside of some of the stone circles, and they produce a sound of 14.5 gigahertz with 72 decibel, and they are quite sure that these sounds are producing a kind of energy. Another stone circle, another one, and if you look, they are mostly closed, and they have a very near connection to the stone buildings in Zimbabwe. They also informed me that they found gold mines older than around 40,000 years in South Africa. They also found a so-called Adam's calendar, because it's an astronomical site with stones, and you can see here the winter solstice sunset on 21st of June 2006, and here the sun is exactly on top of the larger stone. And Michael told me that they are doing now researches on these two mountains, and there is a third one, he told me, which is not visible on this photo, and they are exactly located like the Great Three Pyramids in Egypt and have a connection to the Orion. And he thinks that those mountains are pyramids, but they have to start with diggings and research. They also found a few years ago in Bosnia, in Europe, two big mountains. They existed for long times, and they had the scale of two pyramids, and they did some excavations, and they found out that those two mountains were in former days pyramids, and one of them is bigger than the Great Pyramid of Giza. The government of Bosnia prohibited last year the further excavations. Here you have the picture of the Adam's calendar and some more stone circles, but as I told you, Nexus magazine has several pages with the detailed information about them. Here, this one I got from Russia. They did an excavation close to Chernobyl. The area there is called Arkaim. It's a military restricted area, and they found also very big stone monuments, which shows that in former days they had villages but built in circle forms. And again, another photo from Arkaim, Russia, which shows quite similar stone circle like in South Africa. In May, I was invited by a private research group to Sardinia in Italy, and on Sardinia there existed about 8,000 stone monuments called nurages. The nurages are explained by the Italian archaeologists as protection towers. But for anybody who has a little bit military knowledge knows that how can you build a defense tower with up to 18 meters with only one entrance and no window? How can you really protect yourself? Because if an enemy wants to kill you, he just put fire on the entrance and waits until you have to get out. And this private researching group did the last 10 years research on certain days, on certain hours, especially on the winter changement, on the equinoxial lines and everything, and they definitely have the approval that those towers were archaeoastronomical towers. This is one inside photo. And one of the towers has a small, like a small window on top, and only on certain day of the year, the sun presents the bull's head on the center of the nuraghe. And the bull's head was a northern star before the Great Flood, or let's say pre-Diluvian, around 10 to 12,000 years ago. The age dating of those towers officially is about 2,000 to 3,000 years, but this group and many other persons believe that they are much, much older, that they are pre-Diluvian time, older than 10,000 years. And how can you make a dating on stone buildings? If you find a ceramic, you can date it because it's organically material. But who tells us if there were not thousands of years later people just using those nuraghes for living or for overnight or for protection of heavy rain or something like this? So it doesn't say if you find in an old stone monument an artifact that this artifact is exactly the age of the piece you found. Here you have the drawing of the biggest nuraghe, and here on this side you have small small windows. They are that deep and they are very small. So even for protection, how can you protect your enemies? If you have to bow down, you only can hit him with an arrow mainly in his feet. That means it wouldn't help a lot. And this group found out that exactly on the equinoctial terms, the sun rise comes in here and goes out here. And if they followed this in about 500 meters, you have another nuraghe, another 500 meters, another, so they are all connected. And I already informed them if they might be able to do some research with high-tech inside, because I think that also these nuraghes produce a kind of a sound or energy. And another strange story is that, like the legends of the giants, which we find also all over the world, every country, every tribe worldwide has the legends about the giants. And in Sardinia, there is the legend of the giants, and they find, and there are many, many of very big stone graves, and they all have the form of the bull's head. And they say, so old people, I met some very old gentlemen there, and they said that when they were young, Italian archaeologists excavated giants with over 3 meters, and they took the bones with them. But if you ask anybody officially, giants in Sardinia never existed. They built also in very hard stone, they built rooms going back from first to second to third, even to the fourth room with very small entrances. And this is the picture of a so-called giant grave. It's very big, and on the left side and right side you have the form of the horns, and on the back side the head of the bull. Very interesting also that they found even giant graves under the sea level. That means from a time where the sea was much deeper than in our days. This is a picture, a photo from Bimini Island, They found very big hand-worked stones, a lot of them, and as Edgar Cayce said, around Bimini they might find a pyramid from Atlantis. This one and the next photo was done by a Russian research ship. They found pyramid form constructions in 700-meter deepness. And now we are going to Yonaguni. Yonaguni is the southest island in Japan. And Professor Masaaki Kimura is doing researches since 1985. And the first what they found through a professional diver was a very big monument. You have here the drawing, how it looks. And until now, Professor Kimura has problems of the acceptance of this stone monument done by human, because the official archaeologists say it is natural. And he said, why it is natural? They said because the stairs are too big for normal humans, so that couldn't be made by human for human. But again, we have even in Japan the stories of giants. Maybe the people at those times were much taller than in our time. Here you have several pictures like this one in the center. It looks like a head. He calls it the Japanese Sphinx. But here you can see the huge work of a turtle. And there is a second one there of a big eagle or a very big bird. I mean, the nature makes many things, but I do not think that the nature can do a pyramid, can do a turtle and a big eagle. And a few months ago, Professor Kimura informed me that he even found a stadium with seat rows and stairs going up. I know that the nature can do a lot, but not a stadium like the Colosseum in Rome. Here you see how big and how perfect done is this monument. And most of all, if it's natural and the stone was broken down here, where are the stones? There are no stones close to this monument. Here, everybody of you know already the Piri Reis map. Here you see how perfect it was. And that's the so-called World Stone Map. We found it in the year 2000 in a private collection with other 350 pieces which do not have any connection to any existing or known South American culture. This stone and the other artifacts were found in the year 1984 by engineer Sotomayor, while he was in charge for gold digging for a British mining company. He found a tunnel system, and in there were those 350 pieces. This stone is about 350 kilos in weight. It's granite, and it has a natural quartz line, which you see here, but all the other things are encarved. And for example, it starts here on this side. You can see that there is an eye inlay. This is the area of approximately Israel or the Near East. From here, you can see Italy, Greek. The quartz line, the natural quartz line, goes over the Mediterranean, enters here into the Atlantic Ocean, and here you have one continent which does not exist in our days, and I think this shows Atlantis. Then it enters into South America, and here is another. This is the Bay of Guayaquil in our days, and here you have another inlay and another one going up, and here is a circle inlay, and that's exactly the place where all those pieces were found. This is also the place where we found the best water which exists on our Earth, because it has an energy, natural energy, up to 1.5 million Bovis. Bovis was a French researcher. And the strongest water in Europe is the well of Fatima, which has 640,000 Bovis, but this water in Ecuador has 1.5 million Bowie, and it has silver and gold colloidal in nanomicroscopical form, so that means the silver and gold colloidal can go directly into the human cell. There are many legends that the kings were searching the water of life, and even we had some translations of Sumerian plates, and the translation was the gods were searching the water with gold. And I asked myself many times, why here, around this area where the Sumera were living, you have an inlay of an eye and then showing exactly the place where this water is. And there's another continent here on this map here, that's next to Asia. That's from the northeast Japanese island down further than Taiwan. And Professor Kimura told me, and he wrote also a book about the sunken continent Mu, that he thinks, because of his research, that from the northeast island of Japan, now Russia, until far under Taiwan, there once existed a long continent, and you have it here. And that means that this stone map should be at least older than 10,000 years, but then the big question, how could somebody make such a perfect map already 10,000 or more years before our time? This is a close-up. You can see here Iraq, Saudi Arabia, the Mediterranean, and the eye inlay, the long continent here, and this eye. And here again the line coming down here and the inlay where the pieces were found here where the circle is. This is the so-called pyramid with the shining eye. Even Jim used it for his new bestseller. So it means it is a very, very famous but also very, very old symbol. And this is the only existing real